like no time's passed at all. Have you here? Lifts me up in 1,000 ways. Lights you dark of 1,000 days. I've missed you more than you can know. It's raise a glass and go fly so high, beyond the echo of our last goodbye, where the dreams don't die, beneath the magic of a midnight sky. Long time gone, and we've all carried a heavy load, traveled down some rugged road, but the roads let us here. Tonight we rise to tell a story and take a stand. Kick off our shoes on the baby grand. We'll tear up till dawn, scream to do run, run, and we'll fly so high, beyond the echo of our last goodbye, where the dreams don't die, beneath the magic of a midnight sky, beneath the magic of a midnight sky, beneath the magic of a midnight. When I was 16, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I bought a guitar, I got the fever, it's rock and roll. I played at parties, played in bars, I played in money buying new guitars. I screamed my heart out, but I love it, it's rock and roll. Well, come on, everybody get down and get with it. Come on, everybody get down and get with it. Come on, everybody get down, that's rock and roll. Smoking and the heat, it's got your heart pounding right with the beat. You try to fight it, just get excited, it's rock and roll. And don't you worry about being a star, it doesn't matter who or what you are. Just get the rhythm and let it feel, it's rock and roll. Come on, everybody get down and get with it. Come on, everybody get down and get with it. Come on, everybody get down, that's rock and roll. Come on, everybody get down and get with it. Come on, everybody get down, that's rock and roll. Feel it, clap your hands. See the sweat for this kid with no band. You let me hear, let me hear. It's rock and roll, everybody. It's rock and roll, everybody. It's rock and roll, everybody get down. It's rock and roll. Oh yeah, well, come on everybody. Well, come on everybody. Well, come on everybody get down. It's rock and roll. You're afraid to walk with me through the storm. It's like heaven through the storm. It's like heaven. Where will it ever end? Where will it ever end? Don't take this thrill away from me. You know our love was meant to be the way that it should truly be. Every day it's like heaven. Every day it's like heaven. Where will it ever end? Where will it ever end? Oh, so long, waiting for this And if all my dreams come true, I'll be with you tonight. And I kiss you tonight. I'm waiting for this feeling. And if all my dreams come true, I'll be with you tonight. And I kiss you tonight. And when you talk to me, I love it when you talk to me. It's like heaven. Oh, it's like heaven. It's like heaven. It's like heaven. It's like heaven. It's never going to end. Thank you. Brian Wilson gifted me with that song. Thank you, Brian. Hi! I am so thrilled to be here with you all. I think half of you have been in my living room. This is wonderful. Thank you for coming out to my hometown. I haven't played my hometown in a long time. 4 nights at the Greek Theater in 1978 was the last time. Wow. I always envied. I grew up in Los Angeles. I was born in Los Angeles, and I always envied people that came from other places, because Los Angeles is a great place, but everybody always seemed to be from somewhere else. And I always wanted it somewhere else that I could have been from before I ended up here, and I never had one. My parents had that, but I now don't live in Los Angeles, and the consequence of that is I actually love Los Angeles more, and I get to say I'm from Los Angeles. This is really kind of miraculous that we're all here for a million reasons. But my last tour, my real tour ended in 1980 at the Houston Astrodome for 55,000 people. And I don't know where the rest of those folks are, but I'm glad you guys. I took a little 40-year hiatus from doing this. I'll explain that later. It is nice to get together every 4 years. Thank you. If any of you saw any of those old shows, back in the day shows, you might remember that I opened with a subtle entrance. Well, what did I do? I jumped through a hoop. It was a massive hoop wrapped in white paper, and I'd be backlit, and the ass would be shaking, and then I would burst through this thing like a circus tiger. Except it didn't always work. You see, sometimes I would, when the paper was too thick, see, from city to city, the crew didn't always use the same paper, and when the paper was too thick, I would just bounce off and hit the ground like a wet satin noodle. And this was not pretty. No, this was not pretty. Thank you. Happy to help. Thank you. How many guys got dragged here by their wives and girlfriends? And how many of you wanted to kick my ass in high school? How many of you want to kick my ass right now? Well, maybe this can be a healing night for all of us. I assure you, I will not be jumping through any hoops tonight. You can see the video on YouTube. Very exciting. I will take you back. Just a few short years before I was at the the Astrodome. Me and my 8th grade punk band were playing concerts all over Southern California, little shows really, and I had a point. Even then I was writing songs, and well, one of my favorite places to write was at my friend Miguel Ferrer's house, my late dear friend Miguel. Miguel's mom was Rosemary Clooney, and Rosemary had been one of the biggest pop singers in the 1950s. At the height of her fame, she bought this mansion that once belonged to George Gershwin, and she put her piano right where Gershwin's had been. So almost every day after school, I'd go over to this Clooney Gershwin piano, and I'd sit down and attempt to pound out my little rock anthems, while Miguel and his brothers would be outside shooting baskets with her cousin George Clooney. A perfectly normal upbringing. Anyway, so one of the songs I thought I'd share with you tonight was one of those songs that I wrote then. It was a bit about my experience living in this weird town called Beverly Hills.
Well, my jeans are too tight, I just don't feel right. Stranded in Beverly Hills. The girls are too bloody and the water's too dirty, and those high society ladies give me the chills. With the Gucci bags and the middle-aged sags, they paraded their limos like queens. If they like it, they want it. If they got it, they flaunt it. And they'll probably never know what living means. Stranded, stranded. Stranded, stranded. In Beverly Hills. Thank you. I got that. I didn't love Beverly Hills. I mean, it was, it's fine, but it's a little skewed in some ways. But my father, Jack Cassidy, the dashing and ever so stylish Jack Cassidy, had been a poor kid growing up blue collar in Queens, and I think he had seen just too many of those Beverly Hillbillies episodes, and he wanted in that pool. So, yeah, my dad was a Tony Award winner. He had starred in a number of Broadway musicals, and my mom, Shirley Jones, she has starred in two of the greatest movie musicals of all time, Oklahoma, Carousel, and The Music Man. And won an Academy Award for a film called Elmer Gantry. So I grew up with these people who were actors and in this business, and all these show tunes in the house. And I loved that music, but this was not the kind of music that was going to fly at the high school dance. So I started writing my own stuff, and as I said, my favorite place to write was at Miguel's. And one night, we're all sitting in front of the television, and this concert special comes on featuring a band called the Bay City Rollers. They were this band from Scotland, and they wore these tartan outfits, and they had these goofy haircuts. Anyway, so they're all they're doing this show, and the girls are going insane. They're screaming and crying and peeing in their seats. And for some reason, I'd seen this before. I mean, I was a little kid when the Beatles happened, and then the Monkees on television, and then my own brother, David, on the Partridge Family. I had seen this phenomenon, but something about this particular night, it struck me. This whole Teen Idol thing is not about the performer. It's about the audience. It's the shared experience. It's the giant hormonal hurricane. And once that idea landed, I went right to the piano in Rosemary's living room, and I wrote this song, and a couple years later I put it on an album, and everybody thought I was writing about me, but no. Fresh out of school, proud and brave, we were born into the heart of a golden age. We had nothing to lose, nothing to fall. We had only to give, and we gave it all. Caught in a hurricane.
teen dream. Whoa, too young to know, too young to care. We were riding on the dream and the love we shared. So we gave with our hearts, our mind, our soul, a generation younger than rock and roll. Caught in a hurricane that was yet to be seen, and baby, caught in a teen dream. Whoa, whoa, an overnight sensation, no time for an explanation. Sensation, yeah, yeah, teen dreams. Oh yeah. Teen dreams, teen dreams. Too young to know, too young to care. We were riding on the dream and love we shared. So we gave with our hearts, our mind, our soul, a generation younger than rock and roll. Caught in a hurricane that was yet to be seen. Baby, caught in a teen dream. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. A teen dream. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. So, Teen Idol is not a terrible job out of high school, but it has kind of a short shelf life. And fairly early on, I figured I better start looking at some more long-term career options. But what?
Grammy nominee, come on!
How do you find that school? How do you transition? Where do you go? Just when I thought I was old enough to realize, stroking along and said, boy, you've been living up. She said, you're far from this place, I can see it in your face. You know how to run, but you lose in the race. And in the end, nothing can change that with you. What do you do with this kind of talk going round? When you know that she's right, it's pointless to fight with a girl who has got your heart down. So I decided to hear what she had in mind. Soon I realized she was giving me more than a sign. She said it's all on your side, you better take advantage. Get out of line, I'm sure that you can manage when you take your time. Don't let it take advantage of you. What do you do with this kind of talk going around? When you know that she's right, it's pointless to fight with a girl who has got your heart down. She caught me coming and going. She never knew what she had to be. If I was her, well, I never knew what to be. She said it's all on your side, you better take advantage. Get out of line, I'm sure that you can manage it. Just take your time, don't let it take advantage of you. So even while I'm playing all these big places and records sailing off the charts, I'm thinking there's a ticking clock on this one.
sure enough, just a few short years later, the audience and I came to an agreement. They agreed to stop buying records. I agreed to stop making them. Go underground for a while, my friend said. Take some time off. You can always come back.
Yeah.
The thing of it was, I didn't want to come back. I wanted to go forward. Because I knew I had a different story to tell. I didn't know what that story was yet. But I knew I had to find it. The way we all have to find our story. She got me coming and going. She never knew what she gave to me. From the start, well, I never knew what to be. You too, man. This is Kathleen Seek on the keyboard, and beautiful vocals. And this handsome devil here is my nephew, Cole Cassidy. Playing the guitar, 509 Brazil. So here's my second big secret of the night. I was terrified to do this. But no, not for the obvious reasons. Yes, it's been a long time for sure, but I got past that. It was more, well, here's the thing. See, back in the day, some of you kind of scared the shit out of me. Well, you acted a little crazy. And you chased me. And you jumped over my fence. And you jumped on my car. And you ripped out my hair. And you wrote me some very strange letters. Maybe I have a little PTSD when it comes to it. It's all good. I really am grateful to be here. And I tell you, as scary as the prospect of doing this again was, you should try doing it in front of your children. They will mock you mercilessly. Forget about showing them any of your old videos on YouTube. You have to understand, my kid, I have a lot of kids, and not one of them ever saw me do this because I was done by the time they were born. So imagine this is your dad. Like, your whole life your dad goes to an office. Maybe he's an accountant. Maybe he's a dentist. Who knows? They don't know. I just go to an office and I come home. So one day that guy says, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to be a rock star. Dad's having a nervous breakdown. My little girls were especially like, Daddy, why is this lady screaming? I think it's a question we can all ask ourselves. This is for all the little girls who aren't so little anymore. Hey there, lonely girl, let me make your broken heart like new. Hey there, lonely girl, don't you know this lonely boy loves you? Ever since he broke your heart, you seem so lost each time you pass my way. Oh, how I long to take your hand and say, don't cry, I'll kiss your tears away. Hey, that lovely girl, my one and only girl, let me make your broken heart like new. Hey, that lovely girl, don't you know this lonely boy loves you? You think that only his two lips can kiss your lips and make your heart stand still. But once you're in my arms, you'll see no one can kiss your lips the way I will, the way I will. Hey there, lovely girl, my one and only girl, let me make your broken heart like new. Hey there, lovely girl, don't you know this lonely boy loves you? Don't you know this lonely boy loves you? Don't you know this lonely boy loves you? Don't you know this lonely loves you? She may be the face I can't forget, a trace of pleasure or regret, maybe my treasure or the price I have to pay. She may be the song that summer sings, maybe the thrill that autumn brings, maybe 100 different things within the measure of a day. She may be the beauty or the beast, maybe the famine or the feast, may turn each day into a heaven or a hell. She may be the mirror of my dreams, a smile reflected in a stream. She may not be what she may seem, inside the shell. She who always seems so happy and proud, whose eyes can be so bright and I'm so proud, who wants allowed to see them when they cry. She may be the love that can't hope to last, may come to me from shadows in the past that I remember till the day I die. She may be the reason I survive, the one I wait for I'm alive, the one I'll care for through the rough and ready years. I'll take her laughter and her tears and make them all my souvenirs. But where she goes I've got to be. The meaning of my life is she.
Now what am I doing? Oh, it's been a long time. I'm making this up as I go along.
You run, man. Audrey.
Guys, I have to tell you, this is a total sidebar. We're really going off book tonight. So, this is, I love that song. Elvis Costello recorded that song.
You kicked ass.
I can tell you just a moment about my wife, because it'll give you real insight into who she is, right? Just before we came here to the show tonight, she said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, I had the actor's nightmare." My wife's not an actor, by the way. And I don't know if you know what the actor's nightmare is. The actor's nightmare, I used to have it a lot. When you were an actor, you would go to sleep and you usually have a show coming up, big thing, big pressure, and you'd have this nightmare that suddenly you're on stage and there's like this little stage manager on the side giving you a script going, you're on, you know your lines, you know your song, and you don't know anything. You don't know what show this is, you don't know what your character is, you know nothing. You're being forced out onto the stage and you panic. And you wake up in a cold sweat. That's the actor's nightmare. She told me she had the actor's nightmare, which is, again, weird, not an actor. But she said, no, I had it about this show. She said, I had this nightmare last night that someone was putting a guitar in my hand and I was supposed to go out on the stage with you. She does not play the guitar. She does not sing. Does not sing. But here's who my wife is. And I said, well, it's been terrifying. Were you up all night? She said, no, I just went on. I was great.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for being here. I'm the luckiest human being you've ever been in a room with, because I've had all these great jobs over the years. I got to sing and act when I was a kid, and then I managed to transition to this wonderful career as a writer-producer in television. I mentioned I've written some television shows. I've worked on a lot, you've probably heard of a lot of series, and I've created a number of cult hits, which is code for canceled quickly. So-called American Gothic, Invasion, a really cool little show on Fox called Roar, starring a then unknown Heath Ledger. And for the last 4 years, I've been working on this great show called The Mayor's Family on NBC. But this was not my first job. My first job was as a magician. True story. I was a magician from like the age of like 11 to 16. I would do these children's birthday parties all over Los Angeles. I was Cassidy. Cassidy would do all these shows for these little kids' birthday parties, and one of my clients was Jennifer Aniston. And she was like 5. And cut years later, I'm at Warner Brothers in an office, and she's doing this show called Friends, which I hear did very well. And they called and asked if they could use a poster of me for a flashback sequence they were doing on her show. I said, sure, you can use my poster. And afterwards, she signed it for me. Dear Shaun, thanks for the awesome magic show. Love, Jim. Cassidy had some stuff. Do you believe in magic? A young girl's heart, a magic of freedom. Wherever it starts, and it's magic. If the music is groovy, make you feel happy like an old time movie. Tell you about the magic and it'll free your soul. But it's like trying to tell a stranger about rock and roll. Do you believe in magic? Don't bother to choose if it's just bad music or rhythm and blues. Just don't listen. It'll start with a smile. You can't wipe off your face no matter how hard you try. Your feet start tapping and you can't seem to find how you got there. So just blow your mind. Do you believe in magic? Believe in the magic of a young girl's soul. Believe in the magic of rock and roll. Believe in the magic that can set you free. Talking about magic. If you believe in magic, come along with me. Dance until morning till it's just you and me. And maybe, if the music is right, I'll meet you tomorrow so late at night. We'll go dancing, baby, then you'll see how the magic's in the music and the music's in me. Yeah. I do believe. I've always believed. Ever since I was a little kid standing in those wings, watching my parents create these magical windows of enchantment for people. That's what the theater's always been for me. It's like this enchanted land. Amazing my parents ever found their way there, but neither one of them had any connection to show business. My dad's father was a railroad engineer, long line of railroad engineers. And for a while, my dad thought he'd become a priest. I was a Catholic kid, but then he found Broadway. And I get a hallelujah. My mom's dad was a beer salesman from Western Pennsylvania, who used to take my mom at 5 years old along with him on his sales runs. And he put little Shirley Jones up on the bar, and Shirley would sing and dance Shirley Temple song, and she was named after. Kids sold a lot of beer. Both my parents were gifted with extraordinary singing voices, but neither one of them, well, Mom certainly never thought she'd be in show business. She loves animals. She wanted to be a vet, probably still does. One weekend, she was in New York with her folks, and her dad heard that the legendary Rodgers and Hammerstein, their casting director, was holding open auditions for the touring production of South Pacific, and he encouraged my mom to go. So my mom goes to this casting office, and she sings. She introduces herself, 18 years old, Shirley Jones, Smithton, Pennsylvania, population 600. Sings to the guy, he says, Miss Jones, will you come with me across the street to another audition? They go across the street, and they walk into this massive theater. She walks out on the stage like this, and there's a full symphony orchestra on the stage behind her. And she looks out at the house, and she can just barely make out two silhouettes, two guys, turn out to be none other than Rodgers and Hammerstein. This doesn't happen like this. And turns out they were casting the lead in the motion picture version of Oklahoma. And these are the guys who wrote Oklahoma and Carousel and The Sound of Music and The King and I and South Pacific, among many. And one of the guys, Richard Rodgers, calls out from the house, "Do you know If I Loved You?" My mom was like, "I know the melody, but I'm not sure about all the words." "That's all right," the lyricist, Oscar Hammerstein, replied. "I know the words." If I loved you, time and again I would try to say all I want you to know. If I loved you, words wouldn't come in an easy way. Round in circles I'd go, longing to tell you, but afraid, shy. I'd let my golden chances pass me by. Soon you'd leave me, off you would go in the mist of day. Never, never to know how I love you. If I love you. He'd sleep in the upper bunk, and he'd sneak in these little transistor radios. All you old people might remember those. Fred, I'm talking to you. Anyway, he'd sneak in these little radios, and we'd listen to AM 93 KHJ, and we'd sing all night long while intermittently beating the shit out of each other in these pillow fights. And he would tell me these stories of my father. He was 8.5 years older than me, so he had a lot more time with my dad, and he just made me laugh like crazy. I mean, he was really funny, really crazy funny. Crazy too, and funny. Anyway, David is the guy who taught me how to drive a car when I was 9. He's also the first person to talk to me about girls. And that's the end of that sentence. When David ended up on the Partridge Family, everything got surreal because this was like, okay, my mom, I get it, she has an Academy Award, it's in the mantle, on the mantle in the living room, but David was just David. David was the guy who was in my bunk. And suddenly he's like the biggest star in the world. It scared me. It scared me for him. If we're lucky, our siblings are the only people we get to take this whole ride with. It's not our parents and it's not our kids. It's our brothers and sisters. I cherish my two younger brothers, Patrick and Ryan, and as not a day goes by, I don't think about David. Toward the end of his life, when he was facing so many health challenges, it became increasingly difficult to connect with him. Too much alcohol, too many pills, taking him away from us. Fortunately, in the last days, he came back to his family. And we were laughing again, and we were singing again. This is a song he used to do with the Partridge Family. Will there come a day when you and I can say we can finally see each other? Will there come a time we can find the time to reach out for one another? We've been traveling in circles such a long, long time, trying to say hello. We could just let it ride, but you're someone that I'd like to get to know. I'll meet you halfway. That's better than no way. Must be some way to get it together. And if there's some way, I know that someday we just might work it out forever. The only time David and I ever worked together as actors was in a Broadway show called Blood Brothers. The final song was this powerful anthem we sang with Petula Clark. It was about love and loss and ultimately acceptance. Kathleen, if you'll cover for Petula, I'll do my best to cover for David. Tell me it's not true. Say it's just a story, something on the news. Tell me it's not true, though it's here before me. Say it's just pretend, say it's just the end of an old movie from years ago. Of an old movie with Marilyn Monroe.
Tell me it's not true. Say I only dream that morning will come soon.
Tell me it's not true. Say you didn't mean it. Say it's just pretend. Say it's just the end of an old movie from years ago. Of an old movie with Marilyn Monroe. Tell me it's not true.
Say I only dream that
Say it's just pretend. Say it's just the end of an old movie from years ago. Of an old movie with Marilyn Monroe. Oh. airplane seat. And David Cassidy's nephew, Cole Cassidy. Nice guy.
I was a fool for your love from the moment I saw you. Like a vision in the darkness of 1,000 lost and lonely nights. But my heart threw away the key. I was blind as a man could be. Oh darling, can't you help me see the light? Hey dear, won't you come out tonight? The stars are dancing like diamonds in the moonlight. And we can never find a better time to be in love. Hey dear, won't you come out tonight? The sun is waiting, the moon is shining so bright. Hey dear, you're the one I'm dreaming of. I stand accused, I'm in league with the forces of darkness. The light of the midnight sky, that love that I found today, well I can't let it slip away. Hey darling, can't you read between the lines, yeah? Hey dear, won't you come out tonight? The stars are dancing like diamonds in the moonlight, and we could never find a better time to be in love. Hey dear, won't you come out tonight? The sun is waiting, the moon is shining so bright. Hey dear, you're the one dreaming of. Dreaming love is all there is. I don't wanna lose it. I don't wanna let the feeling end. No, 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 no. Hey dear, won't you come out tonight? The stars are dancing like diamonds in the moonlight, and we can never find a better time to be in love. Love, 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 yeah. Hey dear, won't you come out tonight? The stars are dancing like diamonds in the moonlight. Hey dear, you're the one I'm dreaming of. Thank you.
We're all 13 again. It's a weird rocket ship. It's a weird river, as some of my friends might say. Just goes and goes and goes very, very quickly. Yet, even as the odometer spins and we lose people, and we get new people, the pandemics turn the world upside down, in our head, in our heart, we are timeless. And so is this relationship. Thank you. It hasn't been too long.
Long time gone, we've all carried a heavy load, traveled down some rugged road, but the road has led us here. And tonight we rise to tell our story and take our stand. Kick off our shoes on the baby grand. We'll tear it up till dawn. Scream dirty, run, run. And we'll fly so high, beyond the echo of our last goodbye. the dreams don't die beneath the magic of a midnight sky.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's a new song. When I asked my wife if I should do any new material for this, she smiled and said, absolutely not. No one wants to hear any new material from you. Just want the old stuff. So are you sure? Not even one new song?
Yeah.
She smiled that smile again. Said, hell no. Because she's always so shy and retiring with her opinions. Then she thought about it a bit longer. She asked me, what would the song be about? I don't know. Life, all of us, finding our way to this place. Sounds cheesy, she said. Well, I try to avoid that. I mean, even if it's the last song I ever write, at least I'll be able to say I did it, right? Well, that's dramatic, she said. Truth be told, the song kind of is. Hey, I come from a long line of theater folk. We live for the dramatic. This is the last song I write. I'll leave you with these words tonight. Before we face the mystery, let's kiss the clouds, make history. Tell our story loud and clear. Leave our mark on every year. Raise our voice, take our stand. Plant our flag in the promised land. You're the spark, you're the fire. You're the only angels I desire. Oh, we're now or never. While we're here, let's be here. Let's dance like this night is forever. If what the poet says is true, my love will live in you. This is the last song that I write. This is the last song I write. I'll leave you with this vow tonight. I won't give up, I won't give in. Won't look back on my heaven. Instead I'll race you to the stars. Right top down in all your cars. Run with you to a better end. Serenade my trusted friends. You're the spark, you're the fire. You're the only angels I desire. Oh, we're now or never. While we're here, let's be here.
But here's what I do know. Even the simplest song, if you catch it at the right moment in your life, it can live in your heart forever. Sing this one. I know you can. Words are not the highlight of the song. Do run, 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 do run, run, do run, 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 go, go, yeah. Do run, run, do run, run, do run, run, I love you. Thank you for being here. Have a great night.